Hey guys, it's Andy from Sienci Labs. Today I'll be showing you how to surface off the top of your wasteboard. You can use this technique for surfacing off other surfaces like wood slabs as well. So if you're interested in that, make sure to stay tuned. When it comes to surfacing your wasteboard, there's two reasons you might want to do this. First, if you have a worn out wasteboard like me, it'll help clean off the surface to get rid of all the holes and cut marks on your wasteboard. The second is that it helps make sure that the surface of your wasteboard is flat in relation to the machine. So if you have any bumps or inconsistencies in your wasteboard, they can get flattened out. For this process, you can use any flat end mill or bit, but using a wide flat bit like this 22mm surfacing bit makes quick work of surfacing your wasteboard. A link to purchase it from our store can be found in the description. So let's start off by creating the code. You can use most CAM software for this and essentially make a shallow pocket the size of your cutting area, but I found this simple web-based tool that works well. So we'll check this out and let's get into the settings. So this is a program that we have called Intuiz, the G-code generator for facing. What we'll be doing is using this program to create the code. Let's talk about each of the settings. So in the first setting, we'll choose number 1. Basically what this is going to do is choose where our origin point is. So 1 is at our bottom left corner, which is where we want to have our origin point, which is where I think is the most easiest. For a cutting method, you can go either left or right, left and right, or you can go up and down in the y-axis. I find going on the x-axis or zigzag X works the best in getting a smooth result. For the side A and side B, that's the height and width of the cutting area that you want to be surfacing off. In this case, we'll be changing it to 762mm on each side because that's the metric equivalent, in the millimeter equivalent in inches, in 30 inches. Which is the working area of a Longmill 30 by 30. Depending on the size that you want to be surfacing, especially if you're doing like a wood slab, you can change these settings to match with what you want them to be. For our tool diameter, we'll be using a 22mm surfacing bit, so we'll put in 22. The Y overlap percentage chooses how wide each pass will be. In this case, I'm going to choose 45%. For the total depth of cutting, it'll be 1mm, and the total depth for the depth of cutting per pass, we'll also do 1mm. So if you set this to a deeper amount, it'll go further down, and you can choose how deep each pass is going to be. So if you pick 3, for example, here, and you have 1 here, it'll cut down 3 times until it reaches the depth of 3mm. Next thing we'll be looking at is the feed rate, X and Y, the G00. A quick understanding of what G00 is it's the rapid speed, which is the times when the machine is not cutting anything. We'll set that to 2000. And the feed rate as well, which is the speed at which it will be cutting, it will be 2000 as well. And you can adjust these speeds depending on how much you're cutting and how quickly you want to be cutting as well. And you can use the feed rate overrides in Universal G-Code Sender to adjust these speeds if you want to as well on the fly. For the feed rate on the Z-axis, I'll do 500 for both as well. Then when we press Generate G-Code, it'll give you all of this text here, and I'm going to save this in a notepad text file. So make sure to copy all of this and save it. Save this to my downloads folder. There you go. So when we go into UGS later, we'll be able to input this file and it'll start cutting. All right, let's get the machine set up. First of all, we'll make sure to set up the 0 point for the CNC machine. Let's start off by jogging the x-axis all the way to the left. You can watch the side of the x-axis until it's close to the y-axis, and I recommend leaving about ½ inch of wiggle room. Next, we'll move the machine all the way to the front, and again, make sure you have about ½ inch of space from the front foot. And then lastly, we'll move the surfacing bit to the surface of the wasteboard so that it's just about touching that surface. Once that's done, you can press reset 0. I usually move the machine up a few millimeters before starting so that the bit doesn't scrape against the surface at the beginning. And then turn on your router, press play, and at this point your machine should be moving back and forth to cut the surface of the wasteboard. For me, it took about ½ an hour to do, and when you feel the surface, it should be pretty much smooth. And there you have it, surfacing the wasteboard on your Longmill. Thanks for watching, and until next time.